Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on Fate Zero, which is on episode 11. Now, this episode right here, when I first time watched it 2 years ago or so, call it 2 years ago, I was wondering why the hell this kind of happened. And I will explain along the way about my behind the scenes how it works out, you know? So if anything else, let's go. We had to it that Ryder ends up showing up at Saber's place somehow, knowing where she is. I don't know how the hell that works out, but whatever. And yada yada yada, opening plays out, and Ryder wants to have a little grill dialogue or a talk with Saber. And I'm thinking in my mind, for Pete's sakes, are you serious in a war right now? Are you kidding me? For Pete's sakes, you know, that kind of thing. Here I am bumping my heads right here when I first time watched this 2 years ago. And Gilgamesh was invited, you know? And we all know how Gilgamesh is, or Gil is, dude. He's a freaking, like, super bad boy in a certain sense, but at the same time, a little dangerous. This is my first time impressions or thoughts when I was seeing this, you know? Like, offering Gilgamesh a drink, and then he goes like, what is this cheap swill? Let me show you how a real drink is. And then offers it to Saber, Ryder, and himself, and they all find it amusingly good. Well, of course it was good. He's speaking like a Babylonian king of heroes or something, yada 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 or something, you know? That kind of thing. And so forth. Well, his name says it all, but knowing that I spoiled it, doesn't matter. Those of you who watched it anyway, congrats. Those of you who even watched the Fate Stay Night series will know who he is anyway. So, leave it at that. Anyways, Ryder was asking Archer, of course that's Gilgamesh, of course, about what he wants from the Grail. As Archer explains, he's not interested in the Grail, but the Grail already belongs to him. As he says that every treasure traces back to his origins in his treasure house, you know? That kind of thing. And will not offer it to lowly mongrels such as Ryder and Saber or something, you know? And Saber calls him a mad idiot like how Castor is. And by that time, Ryder's like, hey, let's not take it too far, alright? And then, like, after, like, having certain talks here and there about Ryder taking what he wants, but Gilgamesh, Archer says, like, break the law and I punish you, yada, yada, yada. We have to it that, Saber asks Ryder, like, what makes the grill so important to you? And then he goes like, reincarnation or true incarnation. And they go like, what? And Velvet wavers like, hey, isn't your freaking wishes world conquest? But Ryder flicks him in the forehead and says, idiot, conquering is my way of life and I should be doing it. As you can see, I want to live as both man and as body and spirit, you know, yada yada yada. And he wants to be released from those chains and do what he wishes, you know. And therefore, Archer made his decision to like, I'll just take great pleasure killing you myself then. And Ryder's like, okay, there's no problem with that, but you better be ready, because I'm ready to, like, raid the entire treasure house until it's laid bare. And Saber says that's not how a true king should act. And Ryder's like, ho? Then what would you wish for the Grail? And this is where I think this is one of the scenes right here that actually caught my attention on, because we all know Saber, as she does not like it when what happened to her kingdom and everything turned to a disaster as a result, you know? She wishes for her homeland's salvation, and with the wish granting device, she will revert Britain's destruction. And this is where, like, Tokyomi and Kira is making their move about attacking Ryder, and then Waver to test out his trump card, you know? And with the guards down and drinking, yada yada yada, a best chance to attack him will never present itself again. And Tokyomi asked Kira to give the order. And when going back to Ryder, Archer, and Saber, we have to it that Ryder asks Saber, hey, isn't this where your country called Britain fell and destroyed when it was in your era? And Saber said yes, and she does not agree how it ended, you know? And Archer started laughing, saying that you, of all kings who are praised so valiantly, you feel regret over something like this? Ha ha ha. How can I not keep a straight face or something, you know? And Ryder's like, you can't be serious about wanting to change fate and change the past, do you? And Saber's like, yes. Why is my sadness about that strange? And therefore, Archer asks Ryder, yo, you see what this little girl is saying? She says she devoted her country to her whole life and so forth, you know? And this is where Saber is like saying that a king should make any sacrifice. But Ryder says back, that's not true. A king does not make any sacrifice at all. It is the country and its people, nation, who gives their sacrifice to the king. And therefore, Saber says, that's the words of a tyrant. Exactly, Ryder says. We are tyrants and we are heroes because we are tyrants. But any king who regrets his rule or does not like the way how it concluded is nothing more than a fool. Worse than a tyrant you disdain, as Ryder says. When Saber argues back, asking him like, your great empire broken up by civil war and everything has fallen, all of it has like been blown up to hell. You saying you have no regrets to that end? And Ryder says, of course not. I have no regrets. If it's destruction and everything else was inevitable, then there's nothing I can do about it. I shall mourn it, I shall shed tears for it, but I should never regret it, and let alone undo it all. Otherwise, like everyone who fought and bled beside me will all be wasted or not, and it'll be an insult. And Saber says like it's only a warrior who finds glory in destruction and what's to come. What about a king who can't even protect the weak? A just rule guided by just laws, that's the duties of a king. And Ryder's like, so you're enslaved to what is right then, huh? Is that what you're trying to say? And then Saber's like, yeah, I have no problem with that. And Ryder says, man, that's not how a king should really live. And Saber says, like, as I rule as king, I can't expect to live as a person. But you, of all people, can never understand that. To satisfy your own greed, as Ryder says back, a king without greed is worse than a figurehead. What the hell? And therefore, like, as Saber did say in this episode, like, kings are martyred to their ideals. Ryder pretty much says the same thing, said something to Saber, that you will martyr for yourself, for your ideals. So you've been like some kind of holy saint for everyone, huh? And to think that everyone would follow that path, who will actually like that, huh? And Ryder makes his point by saying a king should be greedier, be more angry and extreme, and accept all the extreme things such as good and evil, yada yada yada. So every inspiration could burn in his subjects and become the king just he is, which I don't really agree, by the way, sometimes, you know. Some things are said right, some things are half is right, half is wrong, but you know, like, not either one's right or wrong. And this is one of the things that caught my attention, you know. And there was another scene that also catches my attention, but that is for another time, which I will talk about. But eventually, as Ryder talks to Saber about this, he ends up saying, like, the righteousness and ideals and beliefs you held once might have saved you before. However, like, surely you can understand what happens to those who've been saved but left to fend for themselves. And Saber asks him, what the hell are you trying to say right now? And therefore, there's a scene where Saber does look at the final battle of her life, you know, and so forth, and Ryder says back to Saber, like, you may indeed save your subjects, but you never led them. You never showed them what a true king really is. You abandoned your men while they lost their way, alone and not giving a about that fact. You went out to follow your own ideals to the end. You are no king to me, and you're just a king who's willing to serve others other than himself. You're just a little girl for not understanding. When I was looking into the scene and watched the scene many years ago, you know, and trying to analyze it, I have to it that some people tell me in certain comment sections, like, because Saber has been, like, cuddling her subjects for too long, they didn't even know what the hell to do after that once the king has fallen or something like that, you know? As Saber ignored her subjects and so forth, everything else altogether, and she never acted like a real human being and never understood them, you know? And so forth. That's what some comments in the sections tell me. Eventually, you know, when it came to, like, assassins showing up, Ryder offers them to join in for a drink, even though Tokiyome is humiliating himself, as Archer says, you know? But eventually, they spilled the drink that Ryder offers to them, and later on, he ends up killing them with with this reality marble Iron Hitori or something, and managed to kill all of assassins, you know, with his soldiers and so forth, which is pretty like tense here and there. Eventually, you know, as they said the words, we had to it that Saber tries to talk to Ryder, but Ryder says, "You could shut up, okay? I don't see you as a king, so I suggest you wake up from your dreams and look at reality right now. Otherwise, you'll just lead. Otherwise, everything, all the pride you have as a heroic spirit will crumble." And therefore, Archer tells Saber, "Look, you don't have to listen to that guy. You are right, you know, that kind of thing." Although there was a certain scene in this episode where Archer does take amusement and loving to Saber after she's been told out by Ryder about what she did as a king, and he's so interested in her. So that reveals a lot of things. Eventually, you know, as the episode continues to apart, Saber does tell Irisfield there was a person who actually became part of my knights, but says that I would never understood a thing about other people, and that's the reason why he might have left, or he couldn't handle it anymore. And that's when the round table of hers started to crumble and so forth, you know. So, like I said, when it came to first time I watched this episode 2 years ago, I was a little confused and wondering what the hell is going on, why is this happening? But after I analyzed it and looking at it, things kind of gotten a little tense right there, seeing how Saber just gotten ganged up on like that. I mean, seeing how Ryder just shut her down like that in simple words, then all the battles that she's been through, Ryder just gave Saber the most tensed up moment of her life, being in shock mentally, you know, and so forth. So if anything else, I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye bye. Toodaloo.